for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications options. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. Good evening, welcome to Ask Gibbo on NUFC Matters. How are you, John?
I'm good, I'm still good. We're still cooking on gas, my friend, so everything in the world is wonderful.
We certainly are, mate, we certainly are. And I've had a busy day today, but I did get a message from Steve Hasty and the lads in our WhatsApp group to tell me that JD Sports and Newcastle United were doing an impromptu photograph opportunity at the Metrocentre today, John. So guess what I met?
Sorry?
Guess what I met?
There we are. What's that silver thing on the glinting in your eye there?
Yes, the Carabao Cup has been out and about today at the Metrocentre, and it was free for all who managed to get along. It was difficult for people. It was a working day, of course. They did it 1 o'clock in the afternoon until 5. I got an earlier finish to get along there and get me photographed, but delighted to actually see it up close and personal. And I did have a little check at the name. We've got it on there, Newcastle United. It wasn't a dream, so delighted to see that. And I'm hoping that Newcastle United go out and do that a little bit more over the course of the next 12 months. Get it out to as many people as possible. Will be absolutely fantastic. But great, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you got closer to the cup than Mo Salah did, so there you go. Great for you.
Fantastic. Is that a Malcolm Pose or Charlie Chaplin, says Mick? Definitely Charlie Chaplin. Yeah, I did ramp up with me night top. I was actually busy all day today. I'm working for about 4 hours in this afternoon, and it was just one of those things where I didn't have time to go home and get me top on. Didn't know how many people would turn up or anything like that. So I'm just privileged being there, done it, seen it, and hope as many of you get a chance to see it as well. And let's hope the club continue to tour our first bit of silverware for many a year. Denise says as well, thank you, John, for an amazing time Sunday with Sir Les. I got great photos of you with Les. I spoke to you for a while. I was waiting to have my VIP photo with Les. I'm the one that got a kiss from Les, she says. You and about 200 other women by the looks of it.
I was going to say, and I got one myself, so we're all in the same boat.
Good day, wasn't it, John?
She was a lovely lady and lovely to talk to, and it was great to talk to so many of the fans on Sunday, because they had so many memories, and the vibes were all black and white. It was a great afternoon.
Yeah, and John's going to be doing the comparing now for our end of season do. Joe Allen's still going to be coming along as well, which is great. But we've now got John Beresford, Steve Howe, and Steve Watson all coming to our end of season do. We're going to be raising money, of course, for the North Tyneside Age UK Dementia Charity. So hopefully as many of you can get along as possible. Tickets are on sale now. nufcmatters.co.uk. I mean, now that we've won the cup, John, you know, some people may think that the entertainers, you know, may be cast into the history books, but far from it, John, because that was still a wonderful team to watch, wasn't it?
Oh, I mean, you know what you do in football is you treasure your great players and your great times, and one doesn't eliminate the other. I haven't forgotten the entertainers because of what's just happened a couple of weeks back. I haven't forgotten what Supermac did for Newcastle, or Alan Shearer, or I haven't forgotten the 50s. You keep the whole lot and you treasure the whole lot, because they're few and far between, these moments. And while this is a historic moment and is absolutely fabulous, it doesn't mean that we've got to erase everybody else. I mean, Alan Shearer didn't erase Supermac or Jackie Milburn, and Isak will not erase Alan Shearer. And there's enough room and enough love to go around the whole lot, isn't it?
No doubt about it. Fantastic stuff. We'll come to a few of your questions in a moment. I just want to get John's view on that game against Leicester. 3-0 win, John. Comprehensive win. Wonderful win. Could have been more.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they abuse the privilege of being bad, Leicester, but that doesn't take anything away from us. They're horrible. If Southampton are supposed to be the worst side in the Premier League, I suggested Leicester have pushed them somewhat. But that doesn't matter. You can only beat what's in front of you, and they are in front of us. And I mean, the match was over in the first 10 minutes, wasn't it? We're 2-0 up. They were dead men walking. We had the bit between our teeth. It's just what we wanted. It's all right knowing that we're going down there and we ought to win, etc., but you've got to make certain you do win. And we did. And we obviously looked a class apart. I mean, it was won by half. I'd forecast a 3-0 win, and it turned out to be right. But at half time, I didn't expect to be right. It was 3-0, and I thought it could be 6-0. But the one thing that I think's interesting, Steve, without banging on about it, is that how long have we said our starting 11 is top rate, our bench is not? In that game reflected that. Our starting 11 blew them away by half time. It's 3-0. Once we take some of our big hitters off and put some of the subs on, because we haven't got Hall and we haven't got Botman and we haven't got Willock and we haven't got Gordon, then the foot's off the accelerator. The guys that come on, I mean, our great midfield, which dictates all games now, dropped off once we took a couple of guys out of there. So did the forwards. And it's difficult. We haven't got the strength and depth. And that just concerns me for the running, because we need these guys on the bench, and we're going to go probably into the Man U game and still not have Willock and Gordon on the bench. We obviously still haven't got Hall and Botman as well. So we're down to the bare bones. We're getting away with that with our starting 11 at the moment, but the sooner we get them back, the better. And the sooner in the summer we get to make at least 4 signings, and I honestly believe we will, Steve. That is very necessary, because if we're going into Europe, and we are in some shape or form, then we've got to increase the strength and depth. But let's not take anything away from the feel-good factor at the moment. We've won a cup, glory, hallelujah, and we're still in there fighting for the Champions League. And Steve, we got a big fillip this week when it was formally confirmed that there is a 5th place for the Premier League this coming season, because we're going to finish in the top 2 most successful countries in Europe, and we can't be displaced. Arsenal having just beaten Real Madrid. So we're going to have 5 next season. So instead of looking to get in the top 4, we've got to be in the top 5. We're 5 at the moment. We've got to stay there. There's 8 games to go. We can trip up or we can push on and get a higher position. But there's 5 places available now, Steve, not 4. And I'm after the great double of saying we've won a trophy and qualified for the Champions League. What a success that would be.
Jacob Murphy with a brace in the game against Leicester, and the first one was just a great move and a wonderful ball in. That second one, though, I mean, it could have been a wonder goal from Fabian Schär, couldn't it?
Oh yes, I mean, I'm off glad Jacob followed it in, because it wouldn't have been a goal at all. But didn't it deserve to go in? I mean, it reminded me a bit, and I don't know why. If you remember when Rob Lee scored from his own half, and then there was an offside given, which was absolutely ludicrous.
Joe Allen was offside.
It was Joe, and I wasn't going to mention that because I like Joe. But what was he doing there? Yeah, never mind.
He was applauding the goal. He was actually applauding it. If you watch the video back, he was clapping
the goal and then applauded. Don't stand offside and applaud it. But hey, not Joe's fault. Who knew? But wasn't it a terrific effort? I mean, this guy's a centre half, and he's playing like Beckham with that chip. And it was wonderful and deserved a goal, but at least he got an assist out of it. And at least Jacob was alert enough to follow it in when nobody else did and stick it in the back of the net. But that would have been sensational. And what a way to celebrate his contract extension for Fabian.
Yeah, fantastic. And news coming out yesterday that Jamal Lascelles has been given an extension, John. What did you make of that?
Well, I'd heard the whisper because it hasn't just happened. It happened a few months back. They just didn't announce it. Well, I mean, we're brilliant on loyalty for a start, aren't we? I mean, nobody leaves Newcastle unless they're dragged out screaming. I mean, we always keep people. I've got to admit, I mean, I've got a lot of feeling for Jamal. Delighted for what he's done for us in the past. He's been a terrific servant. And when we needed leaders and we needed people to stand up there in the dark old days, he did exactly that. I'm not certain I'm a great believer, if I'm truthful, Steve, that we want to keep leaders in the dressing room, regardless of whether they play or not. I don't know that I go down that philosophy. We've got what's John Ruddy provided this season, bless him. He's provided a bit of coaching of the goalkeepers, presumably during the week, and certainly pre-kick-off on match days, etc. But is that worth the contract as a player? I'm not certain. We keep players. I mean, we often keep players too long, don't we? I mean, it could be said we kept Miggy Almeida on too long. It could be said that we're keeping Callum Wilson too long. It could be said we're keeping Jamal Lascelles too long. But it's nice that we are when Jamal is injured and has had such a bad time and has been a good servant to him. I don't object another year, but let that not be a reason not to buy a right-sided centre-half this summer, mate.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Is Rob Lee one of our best? Is Fabian Schär, sorry, one of our best pound-for-pound players? Do you think? Alan Little seems to think he's up there with Rob Lee because of the service that he's given us, the goals that he scored from his position as well.
I think Alan's got a great point. I mean, Rob Lee is said by Kevin Keegan. John Hall's told me it personally as well because he was in charge of the purse strings at the time Rob Lee signed. That Rob Lee's the best pound-for-pound player. I certainly think that what Fabian Schär has given us has been absolutely wonderful. You know why it's especially wonderful? Because Steve Bruce didn't rate him. Steve Bruce dropped him from a poor side, and Eddie Howe come in and picked him for a great side. So, is this another one of the wonderful things that he's pulled off where he's taken people who are supposed to be out on their feet, like Joe Linton, that he give a new position to, like Fabian Schär, like Miggy Almiron originally, and like Jacob Murphy now. He's turned people with respect who are seen as rank and file into top-notch performers, hasn't he? I mean, you've got to give Eddie that credit. He has turned players previously seen as run-of-the-mill into top performers.
Yeah, no doubt about that at all. Alexander Isak as well. From our perspective, looks fitter, and that's a key really going into the last. The last few games of the season, we were concerned, weren't we, against Brentford that maybe he was carrying a knock, maybe he didn't look too fit and interested, but he was certainly putting himself about against Leicester.
Oh, I mean, he's so important for the rest of the running. I mean, Eddie said, and I thought it was quite a stunning thing for Eddie to say, after we had the elation of Wembley, etc., he was asked a straight bat and pad question. There's 10 games left. Isn't there things to play for? Champions League, etc., etc. How do you look at the 10 games? And he said every one of those games is a must-win if we want to go into it. And I thought, by Eddie's standards, that's sensational. That's doing a Donald Trump. where you go out and say anything you like. It's outrageous, and everybody goes, "Woo!" I mean, normally he sits on the fence. Eddie, bless him, and I love him for it, will tell you going to Leicester is one of the hard games of the season, when really it's one of the easy games of the season. But that's what Eddie does. But here he said, and I'm certain he doesn't do any of this, Steve, by the way, in the dressing room. In fact, I know he doesn't. He tells it the way it is in the dressing room. Publicly, he's diplomatic. But on these 10 games, he hasn't. He said, we've got to keep going and win and win and win and win. In the first two we've played, we've won. So let us rock on. And believe you me, for me, these 3 games coming up in a week will make or break our European aspirations, regardless of having a fifth place to aim for now. We play in a week. We'll play home to Manchester United, home to Crystal Palace, which is our game in hand, and away to Aston Villa. Those 3 games will have a huge impact on whether we make the, the Champions League, whether we make the Europa League, or whether we've got to settle for the conference. I think the 3 games next week are absolutely 100% critical.
Yeah, no doubt about that. We'll get back into the games and the football at a later stage in the show. Let's get to your questions. Lots of questions coming in. Alan says, John, what's your memories of Glenn Keely? He was that poor. His nickname was Keely OG.
He wasn't the greatest player in the world I've ever seen. I would say that without a shadow of a doubt. And I mean, he played in the time of the '76 League Cup final. He was one of the super signings made by Gordon Lee, and I say that ever so slightly sarcastically. Graham Oates was another one who scored the goal of the season from 35 yards off the crossbar. Sensational goal. There was only one thing wrong with it, Steve. It was into his own net. It was an own goal, but it's what the best. He tried to turn and pass it back to the keeper, and he rattled it from about 30 yards off our crossbar into the back of the net. And I thought, bloody hell, if Supermac had shot like that, I would have been delighted. Only trouble is, was in the back of our net. We had a few of those in those days, and we can smile now because we also fast forward the clock. We had a few of that sort of thing in Mike Ashley's days. Hopefully, those days are well gone. And when you look at how far we had to come, when Eddie took over and the new regime took over, and we got our wonderful first signings, which included Trips, who's done brilliantly by the way since he come back into the side. We played Cambridge at home in the cup and lost, if you remember, with Trips playing in it and with Eddie manager. Haven't we come a long way in a short time?
Yeah, no, I certainly have, 100%. Keely had the nerve to come back and score 2 by Blackburn in Keegan's first season. He had the longest neck in football, says Alan. Thanks for your question, mate. And next one, Alan says, does Aston Villa's Champions League performance whet your appetite more for the competition, John? The new format certainly gives you more chance to progress.
I think Alan's made a terrific point there. What it's done since we were in the Champions League, which is only a couple of seasons back, last season, in fact, we qualified a couple of seasons back. Last season, you went straight into a small group and you survive or you don't. And we got the group of death, if you remember. And it was the group of death with Borussia Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain and everybody else, AC Milan. It was the group of death, the toughest group we can get. We had a wonderful evening here against Paris Saint-Germain. We had a couple of results which were totally unfair, like the away game in Paris, etc., etc. This new formula this season means, unless you're an absolute duck egg, you're going to progress for a little while. You're going to play a few games in Europe. And I'm not having to go at Aston Villa. I think they've done terrific and well done them. Although I'm not too keen on them because they're not my favourite club, and Emery's not my favourite manager after what he did to Newcastle. But they've done well. They've done well, and they've gotten deep into the Champions League. Although they're going to get tucked up now in the second leg against PSG. We've gone deep in, and it does. Alan's right. It does give you the possibility of going on much longer than the sudden death situation we were faced with last season. So I am excited about that. I'm just, you know, we've won a trophy. We've got a chance to finish in the top four. Now it's the top five. I'm just pinching myself. I don't want to overegg the cake. I'm scared in case we ask for too much and we fall just short in the Champions League. But we've got a terrific chance in the Champions League. And if we get in the Champions League, we'll not get knocked out as quickly as we did the last time because you're given more of an opportunity this time. We will last longer. We will therefore make more money. We'll therefore get better players. We'll therefore get a bigger standing in the world of football, etc., etc. There's an awful lot at stake. And this season, which if we are truthful, at one stage, Steve, this season was up and down, wasn't it? If you go back a few months, it was like a trampoline. We didn't
Yeah.
know, we're up and down, up and down. It can end up as one of the most memorable we've ever had. If we win the Carabao Cup and go in the Champions League, it'll end up as a season which will have big asterisks against it saying super. And we're that close to it. So let's press on and get the job finished with. And as I say, the number of points we're getting the next week, we certainly won 6 at home against Manchester United and Crystal Palace. And even if we draw at Villa, and that's 7 points out of 9, we'll be cooking. We'll also be pegging Villa back by not giving them the 3 points they need to catch us up and overtake us. If we got 9 out of 9, oh dear, dear, then it's sort of thinking about it because we're in dreamland. And I've just come from dreamland.
Denise asks a question. She says, John, who from all of our past centre forwards would you pick to partner Alexander Isak?
Oh dear, dear, dear. That is a lovely question from Denise because I mean if you go Alan Shearer, if you go Supermac, if you go Jackie Milburn, you can't go wrong, can you? It doesn't matter which of those three. But your natural instinct is you go with the greatest of the lot in terms of goal scoring, and that's Big Al. And not just in terms of goal scoring, um, but in terms of his whole career. When you look at his England career, and he was England's skipper for so long, and he scored so many goals for England, he was a natural. And by the way, before somebody says, would Isak be able to play with Alan Shearer? We've just finished hosting Les Ferdinand up here, and everybody said Les Ferdinand wouldn't be able to play with Alan Shearer. And they're the most devastating partnership I've seen for Newcastle United, and that includes having Andy Cole and Peter Beardsley. So I think I would have to go for Alan because we don't need necessarily somebody as quick as Supermac or Wojaki because Alan wasn't quick. He was quick in the mind, but not in the legs. Because Isak himself is quick, and Isak would drift, and he would drift left and pull defenders with him, and that would create space for Alan. And he's not going to choke Alan. He's not going to be playing on Alan's toes for an hour and a half because he likes to move and he likes to roam and he likes to go wide. And I think that would be a terrific partnership.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say the same as well. Great shout. Roger, his question tonight was, do you think Lewis Miley needs to go on loan, John? I don't.
A great question, and I think I know where Roger's coming from because John Anderson, a good mate of mine on BBC Radio Newcastle, has suggested after the performance at Leicester that Lewis Miley and Shula would benefit by going out on loan. That when they come on, they weren't as good as those that had gone off. And of course, then they weren't because those that had gone off are blue chip. Um, and therefore they could do with a spell on loan. I agree totally with Shula. I don't agree with Miley. I think Miley ought to be part of us next season. And I think he will make the step up. And especially if we then sell Sean Longstaff this summer, which we might well do. No, I would keep Miley with us, Roger, but I would certainly send Asula out on loan. I think Asula, bless him, and I've got hope for him long term, but he's so far off being anywhere near Premier League class at the moment, he's 100 miles an hour. Now, your first impression with that is, isn't it terrific? He's quick. But Linford Christie was quick. I didn't want to play centre forward for Newcastle. I mean, I think the kid has got so many raw edges that have got to be sandpapered off, that a little spell on loan would do him, especially if we sign a proper centre forward. By a proper centre forward, I think Asula plays as well wide as he does through the middle. A proper centre forward, I mean an experienced one, to back up Isak for next season. I would send Asula out for loan, but I would keep Miley.
Yeah, Denise says, love your answer, John. It's about getting the right combination, as you say. Pop Images says, hi, Gibbo, talking of Shearer and Ferdinand. Why is the 4-4-2 formation not used anymore, in your opinion?
Believe you me, it will be again. I mean, it's like everything, isn't it? When I was a young man, I used to wear flared trousers. They thought I was a sailor on a ship that's just come up the Tyne because they had the flared trousers on. Then it become drain pipes. But you can bet your boots that in 10 or 15 or 20 years' time, the flared trousers will come back and the kids will think they're all new. And an old bugger like me used to wear them all the time. Everything comes back. I mean, and the two, what happens is somebody gets creative. Whether that's somebody's Pep, or whether that somebody is another thinker, Arsene Wenger, or Fergie initially, or Klopp recently, they get inventive and they come up with something new. And all of a sudden, recently, Steve, we had people talking about false nines, didn't we? He's playing as a false nine. Havertz at Chelsea's playing as a false nine. When we haven't got a centre forward because Isak's unfit, Wilson's unfit, and we haven't a centre forward, we play Gordon as a false nine. You know what? False nine wasn't invented in the last few seasons. Just the term false nine's been invented. But when Newcastle won promotion back into the top flight of English football, they played with a forward line of Waddle, Beardsley, and Keegan. And Keegan played as a false nine. Kevin Keegan was never a centre forward. He played as a false nine in that team, although it wasn't called a false nine in those days. So there's nothing new. You know what's new? We invent new terms for a way to play. But everybody's thought of every way to play. If you look back at Alf Ramsey, when England won the World Cup in 1966, it was a sensation because it said England are the wingless wonders, because all of a sudden, having had the Matthews and the Tom Finneys and all those days, we didn't play with wide men. We were the wingless wonders. But you know what we were, Steve? We were 4-4-2.
Yeah.
There wasn't wingers, there was two strikers through the middle, and which was Hunt and Hurst. We were just playing 4-4-2, but we're the wingless wonders. It was the early 4-4-2. The systems just get regurgitated, and the double centre forward will come back again as sure as eggs are eggs.
Yep, things always make a comeback. Denise says flares are. So there you go. I'll take your opinion on that, Denise. I might hold off digging them out just for now. Here's your ads. Big thanks to all our sponsors. Skips and Bins. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. Their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. Their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Email info@mrvickies.co.uk. Telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel, UK Coach Holidays. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2 crew, driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels, no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach, all excursions included. Their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the technical side of things. And if you want to listen to us as a podcast, you can find us on Sport Social Podcast Network. We're also available on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. If you want to support the channel, then hit the subscribe button. We still do 7 shows a week. Hit the like button, which is the thumb underneath this video, and click share to your social media. You could also take out a monthly membership or an annual membership at nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. For the lifetime membership, you can pay £25 and get a pen, a beer mat, a fridge magnet, a badge and a keyring and your membership card and entry into the monthly draw. Some events coming up: 27th of June 2025, the end of season party. Beresford, Howe and Watson will be at the Tyneside Irish Centre with Joe Allen in aid of North Tyneside Age UK. You can get your tickets for that one from nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk or from Voucher. No Covers takes place at the Cluny. That's on the 29th of June, midday till 3:45, and tickets are £10 from theclooney.com or newcastlelegends.com. Northern Horizon, a Blake 7 convention, takes place on the 9th of August, 10 till 4 at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Come and be some of the cast and crew in aid of Age UK North Tyneside Dementia. Tickets from nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. An evening with Peter Beardsley and Chris Waddle takes place on Friday the 23rd of January 2026 at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. You can get tickets from the box office 0844 249 1000 or from tynetheatreandoperahouse.uk. And Bad Manners are back in the Northeast at the O2 City Hall, Friday the 30th of January 2026. Tickets from ticketmaster.co.uk. And we have copies of The Entertainer's book signed by Les Ferdinand available from nufcmatters.co.uk. Okay, welcome back to NUFC Matters. It is Ask Gibbo. We'll be looking ahead to the Manchester United game in due course. Tom Dixon says, question for Gibbo. With Delap having a £30 million release clause in his contract, do you think Newcastle should go for him in the transfer window?
That's a good question, Tom, because we need a centre forward. The difficulty we will have in getting a centre forward, I guess, Steve, is if it's somebody like Delap, he will be asking, the second thing he'll ask after how much will be, do I start? And there's plenty of people will say you do start, and I include Manchester United in that. Manchester United need Delap desperately, or they need somebody desperately, and they've decided Delap would be a good answer. He would do a job for us if he was sitting most of the time as on the bench to do the Callum Wilson job behind Isak, and he would fall financially at 30 mil. He would fall into what we might get, because 30 mil, Steve, for a centre forward isn't big dough. Not for a centre forward. You know how much goal scorers cost. I mean, it was 60 mil for Isak. It's now about 150 mil because we're trying to price him out, etc., etc. The only difficulty is that Eddie, and this is no criticism, because how can he criticise Eddie Howe at the moment with what he's achieved since he come up here with the Champions League, second Europe, 2 League Cup finals, 1 League Cup win, 4 top finish, etc., etc. But he wants to play with 1 centre forward and 2 wide men. So your centre forward that we buy this summer will be the backup. He'll be to do the Callum Wilson job. Will Delap be willing to do that? If Manchester United will sign him and put him straight in the team? From my point of view, and I think from Eddie's as well, if he would come and do that, he'd be a great signing for us and we would snatch him up. But if he's faced with being back up to Isak at Newcastle or the number 1, number 9 in Manchester United, might he take that option?
Yeah, Lots of clubs will be interested in them. There's no doubt about it. I just hope that we get our work done quickly. I hope that we've already got our players sussed and we know more or less what the answer is going to be without going through the circus that we went through with Mark Gahey. Couldn't go through that again.
No,
Bit of
no, we don't want that, mate. And that ended in failure as well. We don't want anything like
exactly. Jacob asks a rather strange question, but I'll ask it. He says, are you watching Celebrity Big Brother, Gibbo? And if you were approached, would you enter the Celebrity Big Brother house?
By Jove, there's a question, Jacob, which has come right out of the left side of midfield. No, I'm not watching it because I used to watch people like Steve Bruce in agony at Newcastle, and Steve McLaren in agony at Newcastle, and Joe Kinnear in agony at Newcastle, and I don't particularly want to go through the same agony. So no, I haven't watched it. But if I went in with it, I would certainly not want those three gentlemen to be in with me. But maybe the guys that were setting it up would, because it would be much more interesting than if I got Supermac and Alan Shearer and good pals in with me. I think if we put Steve Wraith in there, he might be able to juggle it up a little bit. I think he might be able to stir the pot.
I'll be working out how to do the podcast. That would be my first concern. Matty says, what would be the chances of Joe Harvey getting a statue at St James's Park? I really do think he deserves it. 3 FA Cups and a European warrants a statue, surely. I mean, God, Gibbo, we went through a right faff on under the last regime. I mean, I managed to put an event on. I raised £5,000. There was another group of Newcastle United players, Newcastle United fans who raised another £5,000. And what did we 10 grand get with? It got a plaque at the Gallagher end.
I mean, it's quite incredible, Matty, and you're right. And I mean, Joe, I don't know what's Joe done wrong. Yeah, I mean, I always make this comparison, and I feel terribly guilty making it because I adored Bobby Robson. I went out and lived with him in Portugal for 4 or 5 days. I did talk-ins with him for 15, 20 years. He was a dear friend of mine. I love him to death. But the sort of knee-jerk situation in Newcastle, Bobby Robson's got a statue and won now. Joe Harvey won everything as a player and won a European trophy as a manager and hasn't got a statue. And it's all come to fore now with everybody saying, should Eddie Howe have a statue? I mean, I don't know what's happening with statues, and I don't know. I mean, you know, if you're Manchester City, Steve, how many statues do you have? 12?
Yeah.
When you're considering what they've won in the last, since Pep come, I mean, how many statues, you know, it's now De Bruyne's going to get one, and Aguero's got one, and Silva's got one, and somebody's got to say Pep deserves one. And I mean, how many statues? I mean, there's going to be most. They're going to go twice round the ground. The Newcastle ones are eccentric because we've got Alan Shearer, who was banished his statue by Ashley to be put where a toilet used to be, just outside the ground, who has now rightly come into the ground. There was Jackie Milburn in the ground, and there's Bobby Robson, who I've got nothing but love for, in the ground. But there's no Harvey. And will there be statues in the future? Well, you know what's going to happen, Steve. With a new ground, they're going to have to move the 3 statues they've got, and then they'll look at what goes with it. I'm a great believer. I don't know about you, and I don't know about the listeners and the people that are watching this. I'm a great believer. You cannot decide on a statue for current people until their career is over. I mean, what do you do with Eddie Howe? Does he get a statue for winning 1 trophy, or does he end up winning as many trophies as Pep has for Manchester City in the end? In which case, you name the ground after him. I mean, you know, do you give a statue now to, after just what's happened at Wembley, who do you give a statue to? Maybe if they stay here, Isak or Tonali or Gordon or whoever will get this. If Isak stays here and keeps scoring goals, will he get a statue to stand with Shearer? Maybe he will. Decisions like that have got to be made when careers are all over. But I do feel that Joe Harvey has been badly done to, very much so.
Yeah, I would agree, and it was before my time, but I'd love to see, some recognition. Don't forget as well, we haven't really named stands. I mean, the stand, Sir John Hall stand, for instance, is one that you can recall, but we've never named stands.
We've only got Melbourne, Steve, haven't we? The Melbourne stand of ex-players who have got stands, and
yeah,
a lot of other grounds have got several stands with names on them, and there's that possibility in Newcastle. The new ground, when I say new ground, the new stadium, whether it's moved just that short distance or not, the new building will lend itself, won't it, to what do we do now? Do we recognise a stand for whoever? Do we recognise anything for Harvey? Do we recognise anything for Howe? Do we recognise anything for other players, etc., etc.? That will all come into that. Will all raise its head again.
Yeah.
When we're looking at the new stadium in whatever it might be, 6 years' time or whatever.
Yeah, certainly will. Any news on Tino Livramento, John? I mean, he was, he took a knock, of course, against Leicester. He gingerly walked out of the, the press zone, as they call it. And of course, the Chronicle covering that this week, saying the last person who did that, of course, was Lewis Hall, and look where he ended up. So, any news on him, or we're going to have to wait until Eddie gives us his press conference?
No, we're not. The press conference will tell us now. It's the same as normal. We're going to have to wait till the team sheet comes out on Sunday. But I mean, all indications to me is that he's expected to be all right and that he will be all. And for goodness sake, Steve, heaven forbid. I mean, we've already lost Hall, our left back, and Livramento, who's a right back, has gone to left back. And I tell you what, he looks as good at left back. He looks good enough to play for England at left back, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he has played against Mo Salah, against the Brentford boy who Newcastle and everybody else is thinking of signing. And I look at him, and he looks sheer quality, and he's playing on his wrong side. I mean, what a quality player he is. I mean, when you think how young he is, he could have a statue in about 15 years' time, couldn't he?
Yeah.
When his career is finished, if he stays here, and I mean, he is smooth. He is the definition of smooth, as is Isak. I mean, I have been so impressed with him playing on his wrong side. Nobody's told him he's on his wrong side. That's how he's playing so well, because nobody's told him he's playing there. I mean, I know people that can't play as well as that when on the right side. Tino's absolutely terrific, and we need him, because I don't want to have a go at Target, and I'm not going to have a go at Target. But Target is a step down from Tino and Lewis Hall. Kraft is a step down from Tino and Trippier. And I'm not having a go at either. You need people like Kraft as a squad player because you need backup. In goal, you've got to have four goalkeepers. Your fourth one is not going to be somebody that's worthy of playing in the Premier League side, because you wouldn't stand for being fourth choice. But you need one. So you need these people. But that doesn't mean that the quality of the original guys are nowhere near the quality. And Livramento is absolutely him, Tonali, Isak. I mean, you've got to be in awe of people like that, because they are proper players.
Yeah. Eat My Short says, do inverted fullbacks work better against inverted wingers?
Well, we're going to get extrovert, introvert, inverted up your stocking tops, whatever. Doesn't matter. I mean, the interesting thing, again, it's systems, isn't it? It's the time of day. I mean, if you go back to the days of Supermac or whatever, an outside right always played on his right foot, and he went wide and crossed the ball. Same with an outside left. All of a sudden, it's the in thing that if you're right-footed, you play on the left wing and come inside and try to finish. And if you're the other way on, you play on the other side. I mean, it's the current trend, isn't it? And then all of a sudden, somebody will come along and say, "Well, I'm going to go back to players playing on the correct side. I'm going to go back to 2 centre forwards. I'm going to go to a back 5, etc., etc. It changes and it changes and changes. It's called fashion.
Yeah, of course it is. Great questions tonight. Thanks to everybody who's been joining the chat. We will go with this one. Well, Alan Thompson and Blue Rhythm Boy, just before we look ahead to Manchester United. Gordon going to Liverpool. Isak to Arsenal. Bruno to Man City, John. We're not going to have a team next season. What's your thoughts? And Blue Rhythm Boy asked any truth with Bruno to City rumours, Gibbo. What's your thoughts on all these rumours?
My thoughts that it's a load of hydraulics. That's what my thoughts are. You know what my thoughts are? If you're successful, everybody wants your players and everybody tries to buy your players. And you know what? If nobody was trying to sign Newcastle players, I'd wonder how dodgy they are. I mean, if you're Nottingham Forest, everybody's wanting to sign Elanga or Hudson-Odoi or the midfield boy that played for England. And shortly it'll be Elliot Anderson. If you're good, people want to sign you. Was Mo Salah going to go and play somewhere else? Was Van Dijk going to go and play somewhere else? Etc., etc., etc. It's the name of the game. It's the name of football. People want Newcastle players because all of a sudden Newcastle are good. But I don't believe for 1 second. I mean, you know, we are wanting to strengthen the team in the summer. If we believe all the stories that's out, we're going to lose Bruno, we're going to lose Isak, we're going to lose Gordon, we're going to lose Tonali to Juventus and take Lloyd Kelly back. I mean, honest to God, don't make me smile. I've got a split lip. Like, I mean, you know, do me a favour. We're going to lose Tonali to Juventus and take Kelly as part of the deal, having just got him sold out there for 20 mil. Of course we are. We're dying to get him back. I mean, some of the things that are said are nonsensical. Of course, we know that Arsenal would like Isak, that everybody else would like Isak. But Arsenal are now, they're not looking at Isak anymore, Steve. We're told they are, but they're not. They're looking at somebody that can get, like the old Coventry boy who's out in Portugal. They're looking at somebody that falls inside their financial restraints and might be available. They wanted Isak, but they know they're not going to get him. They're not looking at him anymore. But do you think the Southern press are giving up on it? Not at all. We'll get Isak, Amadeus, as long as he keeps scoring goals. And may keep scoring goals, so I don't care that people get jealous and want things to happen. It doesn't mean they're going to happen.
No, exactly. Newcastle United then back in Premier League action this coming weekend. We play this weekend. It's another different day and another different kickoff. We play Manchester United at home. It's a 4:30 kickoff on Sunday at St James's Park. It's live on Sky Sports. Team news, well, we'll get a little bit of an update tomorrow from Eddie, but Sven Botman, Lewis Hall, Jamal Lascelles, all unavailable. Anthony Gordon was not training last week. Whether he's trained this week, who knows? Joe Willock won't be allowed to feature in this match accordance with concussion protocols, I believe. So that's unfortunate for those two players. Let's see, what other news Eddie has for us when he picks the team on Sunday. Joe Linton and Dan Burn are still walking that suspension tightrope. The Brazilian needs to avoid a booking in the next 2 games in order to evade a 2-game ban. As for Dan Burn, well, he will miss out on similar punishment, assuming he doesn't pick up yellow cards in both of Newcastle's next 2 fixtures. So better news for Dan Burn. Manchester United team news to follow, but ahead of their visit to Tyneside, they are in Europa League action tonight. So they have a less rest time for them, and it is the first leg of the Europa tie away to Lyon as well, so a bit of travelling involved as well. Referee for Sunday's Chris Kavanagh, his 4th Toon posting of the season, following the 2-1 win at Wolves, the 2-0 home Carabao Cup defeat of Chelsea, and the 2-1 home defeat to Fulham. VAR is Peter Banks. Don't forget as well, if you go into the game and you are passing the food bank, drop in some money, some change, whatever you've got, because Jamie Rubin does still double whatever they collect on the day. Okay, John. Lots of feelings about this. Manchester United, of course, the stats on the road they may not have a great record, but they don't concede many goals. I think it's something like 16 goals on the road, John. I think they've got the third tightest defence on the road. But we seem to have a little hex on Manchester United at the minute. Is it going to continue, mate?
I think it is, and I hope it is, because they're not my favourite team, not by a million miles. I mean, I remember even right up till now, when I was following Newcastle, like day to day to day to day, it was the one place where we hadn't won for yonks outside of Supermac and Tony Green's side and Barraclough winnings the week after we lost to Everton. We just don't win there. And why I don't like them is 2 years ago they beat us in the League Cup final at Wembley. Last season, when we've qualified for the last European position, unbelievably they go in the FA Cup final and beat Manchester City, the Premier League champions, in the FA Cup final and nick our last place. So not my favourite team. However, we won brilliantly 2-0 at Man United as last year came to an end. It was a start, as you will remember, the fabulous 9 days where we went to Manchester United, went to Spurs and went to Arsenal and won all three. The jinx or the curse they have on us, Steve, is such that if we beat them up here on Sunday, it'll be the first league double we've had against Manchester United since 1930-31,
Wow.
which is a heck of a long time. And I do believe we'll get that. I mean, they're not a good side. They're an iffy side. The only danger we've got is if we took it as automatic that if we turn up, we are superior to Manchester United, which we are, so we're automatically going to win. That doesn't follow. As long as we don't do that and we come out of the traps quick and we come out aggressively and we look to win it, then there's only going to be one winner and it's going to be us. I don't think we're going to run away with it score-wise, although I would love that. I mean, I would love the 5-0. Yeah, I was talking to Les Ferdinand, the 5-0 that we had in when Les was playing. And he'll be up here on Sunday with Sky TV, as you know. I think we'll win. We'll complete that first double since 1930-31, but I'm taking it to be 2-0. And by the way, 2-0 is fine. It's 3 points. That would do me. If it's going to be 4-0, I would accept that as well, and we can make it 5-0. But I would take 2-0, and I think it may well be 2-0.
Yeah, Mozza, I've dreamt that about Newcastle having a 5-0 win and Schär lobbing the goalkeeper. I, as you already know, have gone for a 3-0 this week. I've gone early. I do think Newcastle will win. I am confident. I think the atmosphere will be electric, especially with a 4:30 kick-off. People have had a chance to have a couple of bevies. But I think, this is always a game we'll look forward to. But I think Newcastle will have too much for Manchester United. I'm expecting a 3-0 win. Gibbo, look forward to seeing you next week, me pal. And have a good week. Enjoy the game. See you, mate.
God bless. Will do, mate. Take care, boys.